You served with distinction, ma'am.
Thank you, young man. Your service honors us all.
The officers' club at Andrews Air Force Base was bright with polished metals, expensive cologne, and portraits of legends staring down in silent approval. It was the Air Force Gala, where careers rose, alliances formed, and image mattered more than truth. Into this world stepped Elra Vance, thin, slow-moving, skinny, wearing a simple blue dress hidden under an old faded M65 field jacket. The jacket hung loosely, its elbows worn, its fabric sun-bleached and battle-scarred, completely out of place among crisp dress blues. Heads turned. Irritation spread. She was a blemish in a room obsessed with perfection. Lieutenant Colonel Marcus Thorne, the self-appointed guardian of that perfection, moved in with two young captains. His uniform was immaculate, his medals precisely aligned, his ego tightly wrapped around his authority. He blocked her path with polished arrogance. "Ma'am, you're in the wrong place," he said coldly. "This event is for decorated service members and their guests." "I was invited," she replied quietly. Thorne gave a short laugh. "Invited? Dressed like that?" His eyes lingered on the jacket with open disgust. That relic should have been trashed decades ago. "What did you do, pull it from a surplus store?" Officers nearby chuckled. Vance only touched the frayed cuff. "This jacket matters." Thorne stepped closer, voice sharp. "This isn't a VFW hall. People here have fought real wars. What could you possibly have done to earn a place here?" He flicked at her sleeve as if brushing off dirt. Then he saw a pacha, simple black square with a single silver teardrop stitched at its center. No numbers, no insignia. Strange. Plain. To him, further proof she didn't belong. And this, the knitting club. He mocked loudly. But the room's reaction changed instantly. A command sergeant major near the flags froze. His face went pale. He had seen that patch since a classified briefing 40 years earlier, about a unit that officially never existed. A myth whispered in windowless rooms. The teardrop symbolized something no one was supposed to know. The two-star general beside him noticed his shock, followed his stare, and his own conversation died mid-sentence. Expression collapsed into horrified recognition. Wordless, he stepped back. Across the hall, older commanders and NCOs turned. The laughter stopped. A heavy electric silence settled. Even those who didn't recognize the symbol could sense something was deeply wrong. Thorne, suddenly isolated in a ring of wide-eyed officers, felt his pride shift to unease. He had no idea what he'd triggered, only that it was catastrophic. Then the crowd parted as General Marcus Hawthorne, his four-star host of the evening, approached with a thunderstorm in his expression. "What is happening, Colonel?" he demanded. Thorne straightened, desperate for validation. "Sir, I was addressing a civilian who entered a restricted event and is wearing an unauthorized." Hawthorne saw the patch. His entire face drained of color. The unshakable general staggered, breath-catching. Then he walked straight past Thorne, as if he weren't there, stopping before Vance. His body trembled. And then he delivered the sharpest, most perfect salute of his career. Tears slid down his face. Thorne's jaw fell open. The room seemed to stop breathing. Hawthorne kept his salute and, without looking at Thorne, spoke in a low, shaking voice filled with fury. "Let me teach you something, Colonel. You are a fool." Hawthorne's voice was barely controlled. "You mock this woman while bragging about your spotless service. You have no idea who stands before you." He finally lowered his salute, though reluctantly, and faced the stunned room. "There are heroes here tonight," he said, "but none of us not come close to her." He turned back to Vance, eyes filled with reverence. "You see, Colonel, we all wore uniforms. We had ranks, benefits, names. If we died, we got flags, honors, a place in history." His voice darkened. She was different. She belonged to a unit that never officially existed. A unit so secret, its classification level was called Umbra. They were known only as the Orphanage. Their operatives were the Grief Bringers. Gasps rippled around the hall. Hawthorne pointed to the small teardrop patch. "That isn't an insignia, memorial. It was given only when every other member of an agent's team was confirmed dead. Only one operative in history earned it." He looked at her with breaking emotion. Call sign, Sorrow 6. The last surviving grief-bringer. Whispers froze. Nobody moved. She infiltrated East Berlin in '68 with nothing but a forged passport and a knife. She walked out a week later with a defecting nuclear physicist and the entire Warsaw Pact early warning plans. Her team was killed. She completed the mission alone. He swallowed hard. In '73, she sabotaged a Soviet bioweapons site in the Ural Mountains, hunted for months by Spetsnaz in winter, listed Kia. 6 months later, she walked into an embassy, half-frozen, barely alive, and the facility she destroyed changed global strategy. He placed one hand gently on her jacket. This coat? She wrapped a dying informant in it and carried him across the Afghan mountains for 2 days. Saving him prevented a war. Hawthorne's voice lowered to a whisper. Sorrow 6 does not die. The entire room stood frozen, officers, airmen, generals staring at the woman they had ignored. She has no medals, no pension, no official record, Hawthorne continued. She erased herself because her country asked her to. And you, he glared at Thorne, dared to shame her. Thorne's face was ashen, his arrogance shattered. You are relieved of command, Hawthorne said. Immediately. Leave this room. You disgrace the uniform. Thorne stumbled away, unable to look anyone in the eye. Hawthorne gently took Vance's arm and led her to the front of the hall. Every person in the room rose as she passed. Salutes snapped up like a wave, one after another, until the entire officers' club stood in absolute silence and reverence. Vance, the forgotten shadow of a forgotten war, finally took her seat of honor. And no one in that hall would ever forget her again.